In this video, we're going to back up our website's Universal Analytics data using Analytics Canvas. First, we'll sign into our account and we'll go over to the UA Backups menu on the left-hand side. We'll create a new backup in our data location. We'll give the backup a name and proceed to the data categories. Here, we'll make one or more selections based on the categories of data we'd like to back up. Next, we'll go to Export Options. This is just to give us an indication of how much data you're able to back up. If you choose Sheets or Excel, there's a limited amount of rows that we can put into each worksheet, whereas if you pick BigQuery, there is no limit. That said, we still won't give you the highest level of detail if you pick BigQuery. You can configure that later on. I'm going to pick Sheets to start with. First, you'll be asked to authorize your Google account. Once you've done that, you'll be able to select from one or more views to include in your backup. You will only select more than one if your views are tagged identically. Once you've done that, Canvas will scan over the history of your view to see how much data is available. In this case, we see that the data goes back to 2009 and there's 1.2 million sessions to back up. Next, we'll go to our table library. This is the default library that Canvas has created based on our earlier selections. While the estimate is generating, we can continue to work with this backup. First, let's look at that library of tables that Canvas has created by clicking on Configure Predefined. Here we'll see that because of my selection for Sheets, many of these tables are at a medium level of detail. I can of course change this if I want to a higher level of detail, and I can do that in bulk against the tables that I want a higher level of detail for. If I want to see what's in these tables, I can click this Show Query Dimensions and Metrics button. Now I can see what changes when I go from high to medium to low. I can also change the time periods. I can select from days, weeks, months, or years, depending on how much detail and how detailed I want my backup. If I have unique metrics in my query, I may choose to use more than one of these. If I want to reduce the number of rows in my backup, I'll go to months or years. Continue doing that against all the tables in the library until you're satisfied. Any of the tables that weren't selected initially are still available here, they just aren't selected. Once I'm ready, I'll click Update. Canvas will continue to update the row estimate based on my selections. Next, I can review some of the tables that have already been created and modify them, simply by clicking the Edit icon. Here again, I can change the level of time granularity, I can change the level of detail, and I can convert this to a custom query, where I can add my own dimensions and metrics to it. For example, in this case, I may wish to add some additional dimensions to my query. I can also apply any segments, all system segments are available, and any custom segments that are available to my account. I can also add filters, just like I would in the UA web interface. Once you're happy with the query, you'll go ahead and hit Save. Canvas will again continue to update the row estimate based on our selections. Now it's time to create our own custom queries. These are the queries that are going to match our existing dashboards and reports to ensure that they're always going to work indefinitely. Because we are limited to 9 dimensions and 10 metrics per query, you will have to make multiple tables. Once you've finished all of your queries, it's time to move to the next step. With our backup complete, it's now time to remove some tables that we don't need, perhaps ones that didn't end up returning any rows. If our website didn't have any demographic information, for example, or if we didn't have any e-commerce, we'd have a result like this. We can easily remove all tables with 0 rows with the click of a button. Next, we'll move to our export options. We can choose from BigQuery, Excel, or Google Sheets. CSVs will be made available for all backups. Simply select a credential, authorize one if you haven't already, and then select the folder that you want to put it in. We'll then move to the next step. Here, Canvas shows us the total estimated rows and the total cost of this backup. We can review the tables again, and then we must check this checkbox here before proceeding to the next step. Finally, if you don't already have credits on your account, you'll go ahead and purchase those credits. Once you've completed this process, you'll have a token. Come back to Canvas and apply that order number here. Once you do that, the backup will commence. You'll see that the status has changed to purchased. There's a couple more iterations to go through before the backup will start running. The run has now been requested and it's been pushed down to the servers. And finally, once it gets picked up, you'll see a status message that says running. And at this stage, if you'd like, you can follow along with the progress by simply clicking this running button. Here it's going to show you a full log of the activity. This may take a while depending on the size of your site. You don't have to keep this window open. You can close it and we'll email you when the job is complete. Once your job is complete, you'll be able to come back, click on the Exports button, and you'll see both where your data has been output to, as well as a link to your download. You can now come back between now and July 2024 to add tables to your backup up to the limit that you've paid for. Canvas subscribers can use the main Canvas utility to review their backup and all the data that's inside of it. Here we can preview the data that's in the table. We can use our date heat map tool to ensure that it's a complete and continuous data set. And we can use our data profiler tool to find unique values in the table. Great. Our backup is now complete, our data has been validated, and we can now go forth with using our backup. If you have any additional questions, contact us at support@analogscanvas.com.